Every year, we set aside November 11th to honor our veterans. These veterans come from the Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard, and have served our country selflessly with dignity and pride. At Greenfield Central, we have a long-standing tradition of opening our doors to receive, welcome, and appreciate our veterans. Our heroes are welcome to a reception before the program, where they are able to discuss their service with like-minded servicemen and women, while GCHS staff and students prepare and serve refreshments. What follows after is something so special to our school, our community, and most importantly, to our veterans. A program that truly honors the achievement and legacy of their service. Thank you, veterans, for all you've done to provide us the freedoms we have been granted.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Greenfield Central High School for our Veterans Day program. We have a number of guests with us today. Familiar with students, obviously. My name is Dan Walbaum. I'm the principal at Greenfield Central High School. We're very honored to have you with us today. So, we have many students and staff who've worked very hard to put on a memorable program for you today. So we're so glad that you are a part of this on the school level. There are too many adults to thank, but I would like to specifically mention Mr. Darren Turner, Mrs. Connie Entrican, and Mrs. Erica Jones for hosting our veterans out here in the Performing Arts Center lobby, and obviously contacting the veterans and getting everything set up for today. Thank you in advance to our student performers. We appreciate, and speakers, we appreciate everything that you are doing for us for this program. So, and thank you as well to the adults who've had put our student performers in position to be successful today. So, of course, today's about our veterans and their families. Before we begin that program, I'd just like to call your attention to a few other things. So, first of all, at Greenfield Central, obviously we're very proud as a school, corporation, and community for the support that we offer our veterans each year. I want to let you know of an important achievement that we have been able to be recognized for here in GC schools. Just recently, within the last week, we found out about a program where Greenfield Central Schools have been recognized as a Purple Star School Corporation. There have been 100 schools recognized in the state of Indiana, and all 8 Greenfield Central schools have been recognized as Purple Star schools. And what that means is our schools and our school corporation, we stand out with regard to Veterans Day programming, with regard to support for our veterans and their families. So we're really proud of that, and that designation obviously honors our commitment to our veterans and their families and our nation's military. So we're going to display that certificate in a very prominent area here at school. So it's a nice honor, and congratulations to everybody involved in that. In a few moments, our guest speaker will be discussing the Wounded Warrior Project, which is dedicated to improving the well-being of our nation's veterans, especially post 9/11 veterans. Like you, I look forward to listening to her message and learning a lot more. Finally, at the end of the program, after the Star Spangled Banner, the program will conclude quietly with the playing of taps, so please be respectful of that process. Our veterans will need a few extra minutes to stand up and recess outside of the gym, so we will dismiss quietly for the day when that is finished. So at this time, we will go ahead and begin our program, so please stand as a show of respect as our veterans come in and take their seats. Our student performer for this part of the program is Miss Sarah Paul. Welcome, Sarah.
Before, with a dream of a nation where freedom would endure. The work and prayers of centuries have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let them say of me, I was one who believed. each generation, from the plains to distant shores, with the gifts that they were given, were determined to leave more. Valiant virtuals fought together, acts of conscience fought alone. These are the seeds from which America has grown. Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. For those who think they have nothing to share, who fear in their hearts there is no hero there, from each quiet act of dignity is that which fortifies. What shall be our legacy and never dies? Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, 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 America. I give my best to you.
Thank you, Sarah. Outstanding. Thank you also to our Blue Fusion dance team members for welcoming our veterans. If we still have any veterans who want some preferred seating, there's still 6 seats up front if you'd like to move. So at this time, we'll continue with the musical portion of the program.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. My home, my home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home.
Please stay sitting. We'll keep doing the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, in one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You can be seated.
Army.
First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. 2, 3, 4, up. 2, 3, for wherever we go, you always know that the army goes rolling along.
Marines.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land, and sea. First we fight for rights and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines.
Coast Guard.
We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through loud and gale, and shot and shell to win the victory. Send peppers is our guide, our pledge is our motto too. We're always ready to or die. High Coast Guard, we fight for you.
Navy.
Till
Thank you all. At this time, we're going to have a flag folding ceremony, and here to conduct that ceremony from our FFA program, Logan McConnell, Charlie Poisier, and Michelle Sheep.
First fold. The 13 stripes represent the original 13 states: Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, South Carolina, New Hampshire, Virginia, New York, North Carolina, and Rhode Island. The second fold. The 50 stars represent our 50 United States of America. The third fold. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Patrick Henry. The fourth fold. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will in this crisis shrink from the service of their country, but he that stands it now deserves the love and thinks of man and woman comes pain. The fifth fold. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The Declaration of Independence. The sixth fold. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish the Constitution of the United States of America, the United States Constitution. The seventh fold. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging their freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, the First Amendment. The eighth fold. The basis of our political system is the right of the people to make and alter their constitutions of government. George Washington. The ninth fold. My God, how little do my countrymen know what precious blessings they are in possession of, and which no other people on earth enjoy. Thomas Jefferson. The 10th fold. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Abraham Lincoln. The 11th fold. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of their teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest, tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Emma Lazarus, inscribed on the Statue of Liberty. The 12th fold. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. John Fitzgerald Kennedy. The 13th fold. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Martin Luther King Jr. On behalf of the Greenfield Central FFA chapter, thank you to all the veterans who have served our country and kept us safe. Please join me in a round of applause.
Today I'll be introducing our keynote speaker, Cindy Parsons. Cindy Parsons credits her son, United States Army Sergeant Shane Parsons, as her inspiration to do more with life. Shane's father died just 6 months after he was born, leaving Cindy a widow at age 29. She had to muster all the strength she had to raise her son alone. They made it through that difficult time, but when Shane joined the Army, Cindy's strength would once again be tested. While deployed in Iraq in 2006, Shane's convoy was hit with an improvised explosive device. Shane suffered catastrophic injuries that included multiple cardiac arrests, a severe traumatic brain injury, a severed leg, left leg, and an amputation to his right leg. His mother, Cindy, left her job as a registered nurse and flew across the world to be with her son while he underwent 15 surgeries and battled multiple infections. For the next decade, Cindy served as Shane's primary caregiver and learned firsthand the challenges faced by the family members of injured veterans. Her passion of helping others led her to become a strong advocate for the family support members of other wounded warriors. In 2009, Cindy helped Wounded Warrior Project lobby Congress for the passage of the Caregiver and Veteran Omnibus Health Service Act of 2010, a bill providing assistance and support for caregivers of injured servicemen and women returning from war. With Cindy's help, Shane's progress was slow and steady but successful. While attending a WWP event in Pennsylvania, Shane met his future wife, Jennifer. Now Jennifer is his primary caregiver, and Cindy was promoted to her favorite role of all, Grandma. Today, Cindy travels the country to share her story of hope and perseverance. Please welcome our keynote speaker, Sydney Parsons.
Since I'm short, I am pulling this off because I feel like I can't even see anybody, so I'm taking it away. Good afternoon, everyone. War leaves a path of scars. Some you can see. Most are invisible to the eye. I learned at a young age that making a difference is the most important thing you can do in life. The most important. You see, as a young girl, I grew up watching my father, who did serve in the United States Army. Well, right? Oh, yeah, he served over 90. And then transitioned into the National Guard. So as a little girl, I used to watch him collect all of his equipment and uniform. And he amazed me as a little girl. His sacrifice to leave the family, I didn't like as a little girl. I was very upset. But he would tell me, service is important, Cindy, and you need to be strong. So service, sacrifice, and be strong. So my dad taught me that important lessons as a little girl, and including the importance of building knowledge, learning things all the time, and skills, and more importantly, structure. As Dad, my hero, he was amazing to me. Later in his life, he made the hobby of learning how to fly a plane. I would sit in the parking lot doing my homework in high school, watching him take off and land, take off and land. I was thinking, oh boy, he better be careful because if he messes up, Mom's going to kill him. And not only that, his love of sports. He loved racquetball, hunting, you name it. That was it. He was my hero. I loved my dad. And then something horrific happened a month before I graduated high school. I was sitting in one of your seats, students, as a senior. And my father did something he did all the time. We went down into our basement. We lived in an older home, and we lit the pilot light of the furnace because in the 70s, that's what you did. You get the heat going, right? There was an undetected leak, and there was an explosion. My dad was burned, 3rd-degree burn, 75% of his body. My scars started to be old. I was working, mother was working, my 3 other siblings were home alone with Dad. We made sure they got out of the house. I walked into my room and saw my husband, my father cry. I had never seen my dad cry. He had skin grafts, which were extremely painful. And I vowed that time I saw him that I would become a nurse one day and never treat my patients the way I saw my dad treated. I wanted to make a difference like he did. I wanted to make a difference. He succumbed to that injury 5 days after he was burned. It was tough for me as a young 18-year-old girl, with my whole life ahead of me. As time went on, I met the love of my life, my husband, Rick. We fell in love, got married, wanted children, but it didn't happen after 7 years. And then another scar formed. He was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and it was the size of a grapefruit. Why? I asked God, why? Why is this happening? And then a miracle happened. Before he started chemotherapy, I found out I was pregnant and we had a boy. He named him Shane. Beautiful. 6 pounds, 7 ounce baby boy. My husband succumbed to his brain tumor and cancer when Shane was 6 months old. What do I do now? But before he passed, I made a promise to my husband that I would be the best mother that I could, make sure our son would grow up to be happy and productive in his life. Those scars started to build in me. As Shane grew up, he was a typical boy. Always into something. He'd come home with a turtle in his pocket, stones everywhere. He even brought a baby bird into the living room, or to the kitchen as I'm cooking. Typical boy. Loved the outdoors. Anything to do out, animals, outdoors, all the time. Loved his sports. He played football, he wrestled, did karate. Quite the young man. Didn't like school very well, but that's okay. He did graduate. For me, I went back to nursing school as an old student. I wanted to follow my promise to my dad that I would become a nurse. And then something horrific happened again. 9/11 occurred. I don't know how many of you in this room, I know the students may not remember this, but all of our veterans seated before me know what 9/11, what happened and how it occurred. I'll never forget that day. When the first plane hit the first Twin Tower, and then the second plane hit the second Twin Tower, and my son and I are sitting in front of the TV watching this unfold, gasping, like, this isn't real, this can't be happening. Well, it was real, all right. But what really affected not only Shane but myself was seeing the first responders run towards the devastation. They didn't run away. They ran towards it. The danger. That affected Shane immensely. He looked at me and he got angry. He said, how dare they come onto our soil and attack innocent people? He knew darn well this was the act of terrorists. He said, Mom, I've been thinking about this. I'm going to join the service like your dad and following Grandpa, your dad's footsteps in the United States Army, and Grandpa Parsons in the U.S. Army as well. He served during World War II. Now I'm a girl in the 70s. I remember Vietnam. I was terrified. Terrified. I told him, there's no way I'm going to sign you up for the military. You need to graduate first. And I told him that he'd change his mind. He did. He wanted to raise his hand to make a difference. To make a difference is the most powerful thing you can do. Powerful. Our country was in need. We need to protect our freedoms. For us to gather here today, because of all these men and women in front of us who sacrificed their lives and their loved ones to serve their country, making a difference. When I look back, I remember how Shane, as a little boy, would not only have the love of animals, but in elementary school, I remember this was kind of a path that he had unfolded, and it didn't dawn on me until now. When he was little, there was a little girl in his elementary school that was not well off. She had no coat in the midst of winter when it's freezing cold out, no boots, no shoestrings in her tennis shoes. And he said, Mom, that poor little girl is freezing out there. Maybe we should do something. He's in elementary school. Elementary school. I said, you got it. You are absolutely right. I'm looking around, nobody's noticing. We went and bought coats, gloves, and mittens, gave them to her right on the playground. He said, Mom, she's so happy. I said, don't let anybody bully her. He goes, I won't, Mom. Then he went on. He volunteered at our parks, the director of the parks assistant, to help the kids in the summer camps, going fishing, putting the worms on the hook, helping the little kids catch fish, take them off the hook, whatever it took in those kayaks, just have fun. And then one step forward, he decided he was going to work for the YMCA for the after-school kids. They needed something to do. So they played basketball, they did crafts. He was in high school. And he did this. So these paved the way for his future and his future career. Because he wanted to make a difference, right? Things that he didn't even realize what he was doing. So when he left for boot camp 1 month out of graduating high school, he followed in my dad's footsteps. Fort Benning, Georgia, right? Fort Benning? No. Many of you know that well, right? He went on to serve with Bravo 367 4th ID at Fort Benning, Texas. By then, I was fully involved I graduated from nursing school. I was actually working in med-surg. And then I went on a second nursing job. Yes, I would like for punishment, but I had to keep my head straight. Because we were fully involved in Operation Rapid Freedom at that time. And with Shane being at Fort Hood, I knew what was going to happen next. I remember working, I always worked night shifts, and I can remember patients coming in, the young men would come in, and I would assess them, and I could see my son's face in their face. It was so heartbreaking. I was terrified for him. Because that's home duty. I said, Mom, I'm not coming home for Christmas. It was in 2005. I said, they're sending me to Iraq. And I'll be at Camp Rustenaya, attached to 101st Airborne. And that was the most volatile time of the Iraqi war. I said, okay. It took every ounce of me not to cry, not to scream, not to say no, but to say, I'm so proud of you, Shane. Just remember one thing, come home to me. Do your best, whatever it takes, but come back home to me. He said, I will, Mom. And of course, it was tough. I pretty much worked myself to death because I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I kept thinking about Vietnam. And boom, one morning, after coming home from working all night, I worked the night shift, the phone rang. It was a stranger. The stranger told me that my son had been critically wounded. And I said, this is not funny. Whoever's calling and doing this is a joke. It isn't funny. No, ma'am, this is no joke. Stand by the phone. 3 phone calls later, I found out that yes, he was attacked. You see, that day he volunteered on a mission. I didn't know warriors got days off in war. Did you know that? I didn't know that. It was his day off. And what did he do? He stepped in for a brother that needed help. One of his brothers was struggling, and he said, you stay back. I'll take this mission. I got your 6, right? I got your back. So he stepped in a position that he didn't normally do. It didn't matter to him. He just wanted to get the job done and follow through. He drove a lead Humvee to find caches of weapons in Baghdad. And on their way back, the enemy was waiting. Oh, they were waiting. When they detonated this IED, it was actually called an EFP, Explosive Form Penetrator. It's a larger IED meant to take a takeout. You're shaking your head, you know exactly what I'm saying, right? So you can imagine the devastation when it severed the left leg, and then they tried to save the right leg. No blood flow. At the Baghdad cache, they had to amputate it to save his life. But the worst part about it is he had cardiac arrest multiple times, where his heart completely stopped. At the age of 21, no blood flow meant no blood flow to the brain, which meant parts of the brain died. At 21 years old, But we have the most amazing military medical teams. Any of our veterans out there, are they any Army medics? Raise your hand. If it wasn't for the Army medics, my son would not be here. If it wasn't for the nurses and the doctors, he would not be here. So let's give her and all of our medics and nurses and doctors in the military a round of applause. Just know I always bring you guys up. Always. Because you make a difference in what you've done in the past and continue to do around the world. I'm so grateful. We'll get it together, guys. Come on. So in my career, the day Shane was injured. They stabilized him with the Baghdad cash. After they amputated the remaining leg, stabilized him, then flew him from Baghdad cash to Longstool, Germany, where we take our wounded and stabilize them again prior to bringing them back to stateside. So there I am on a flight to Longstool. You can imagine his moms and dads, you know what goes through your head. Am I going to go there? Is he going to know who I am? Is he going to be alive by the time I get there? I don't know. All you do is pray and ask him to fight for his life. And I told everybody, God, if I don't listen to his mom, he never listened to me, you know? He did fight. And when I walked in that room, I was devastated. You know, there were some resuscitations from head to toe, and I could not lift that blanket. It was flat. I couldn't lift it. That's not what the fight was going to be. That's not where the issue lied. It wasn't missing his legs. It was a tube protruding out of his brain. You see, with no blood loss, parts of his brain died, so they had to maintain and monitor the pressure of the brain because with parts of the brain dying, his brain was swelling. And if they did monitor it, they would have to cut part of the skull to let it swell or he would die. But they contained it. They kept it at bay. It was touch and go. But as they stabilized him, he was ready to go on that medevac flight back to the United States. And I'm a mama bear, so if my son was getting on that flight, I could not be inside. You know, mama bears, we can be pretty tough, right? Guys, we know we can be tough, right? So yes, ma'am, you're going to be on that jump seat next to your son on the way back. We landed at Andrews Air Force Base, and then we'll take you to Walter Reed, where he will remain for the rest of his care. And that's what they did. I remember that medevac door opening when we landed at Andrews Air Force Base. That huge door opened. Up comes the Red Cross bus to whisk Shane and I away. And there were many wounded warriors on that plane. It was devastating to see them. Just to see all of those young men and women who were wounded. They whisked him away in Walter Reed Medical Center where we went through 15 surgeries because the soil in Iraq is contaminated with this bacteria called Cetobacter. So with blast, basically, you know exactly what it's. They took more tissue, more bone, more muscle, so he got shorter and shorter. And had to. He was so sick. That's not the fight. That wasn't the fight. The fight was going to be that he didn't even know who he was, who I was when he woke up. He called everybody grandma. The brain had just been so messed up. Until one day I walked in and he said, Mom, where did that guy come in? He didn't use those words. Being respectful. So I've been here every day, honey. And I tell him that's day number one of the fight to regain what he had lost because he had lost all of his memory. He has cognitive deficits for life, meaning he'll never learn the same. Short-term, long-term memory loss. Not able to read, can't write. And imagine, as a 21-year-old going to a restaurant and pick up a menu, you can't read it. was so embarrassed. I said, you have nothing to be embarrassed about. Nothing. But wait a minute. He knew that he was never going to be the same. Let alone no legs and have to learn to use a wheelchair because prosthetics are too difficult for him. To hire an amputee, especially with brain injury, is pretty much impossible. I mean, it happens, but it wasn't for him. I couldn't be more proud of Shane, though. He would always ask to go see the other warriors because he would always cheer them on. Here he is, just as sick as they are, and he'd say, drink more chicken soup, help me. Push through the pain. You'll get over it, I promise. You know, make a difference. Because that's the most important thing to do. To let them know you're not alone, brother. You're not alone, sister. I got your back. Something wonderful happened while we were at Walgreens. Shane had a lot of visitors. But there were two gentlemen that walked in one day. It was a new word project. They said, we're here for you and your mom. And we want to help you with some needs. Let us know. And we did not know the ramifications of that meeting that day, what it meant. We had no clue what it meant. What it meant was they were going to honor and empower wounded warriors with the vision to foster the most successful generation of wounded service members in our nation's history. I had no idea. I thought that was very nice, Shane. I said, okay, Mom. Then he went to several other medical facilities, military medical facilities where we have, and finally came home. And let me tell you, because I was terrified. Suicide was a commonality with our veterans, especially our wounded warriors. I've seen many all alone, suffering, and it was tough. So when he came home, we live in a small town in Ohio, I felt this hand come out, and it was really weird project. They came to the house. He said, we're here. We have a new program just for a warrior like Shane called the Independence Program. No, I gave up everything, my career. I had no insurance, no income. I'm not his wife, I got nothing. I used up all my savings. And I cared. I really, literally lost our home to water damage while we were gone, so I had to put a new one up. Because we lost our home to water damage, it was not livable. But all those pieces fell into place. With the Independence Program, they found the right people to come to our house and help Shane attain the goal. Because the Independence Program is for those severely wounded warriors that maybe have a spinal cord injury, a brain injury, maybe a neurological disease or injury that requires a caregiver 24/7, 365 days a year. Yeah, that was Shane. Providing them with goal setting to get them back out of the community, have a purpose again. And he ended up doing what he wanted. He played football in high school, right? He wanted to coach the community youth football at our local schools. And he did. He made it happen. He found the right people. He attained that goal. He wanted to coach junior high and high school football, and even assistant defensive coach at his high school. And it taught the kids in the community respect, perseverance, and resiliency. I remember one of the first games that he coached in when he was 5th and 6th grade at Catholic school. They were not good. They even had a girl on their team. He tried, but guess what? They didn't care. They all came up to him after the game, they all put a hand on him and said a prayer, and the tears started rolling because that was acceptance. That gave him the self-confidence, like, I can do this. I can make a difference. I can change lives, just like showing them, look at me, I can do this. He went on to do other things like downhill ski. I thought he was going to kill himself. I couldn't watch him. I thought he was going to kill himself going down that slope. He was so fast. Horseback riding. He went into horseback riding. Anything you want. Anything you want, baby. We'll make it happen. We went to a ranch in Bandera, Texas, and from sunup to sundown, he rode horses all day. It was amazing. And then the soldier riding adaptive sports, adaptive bike with just his arms, with other soldiers showing that, yes, you ride a bike. It's just different than everybody else. Continuing on with perseverance and doing things just in a different way. When you show others that you will not give up, you change lives. You change lives. You never stop learning no matter what. I don't care how old you are. We all learn every single day. And that makes a difference. And you say, you never give up. I want to give one example of something that Shane's near and dear to his heart. How many in this room love eagles? A lot of eagles. Yeah. It's a national bird, right? Isn't it gorgeous? Well, Shane ended up, there was a Vietnam veteran that came to the Minneapolis VA, and he brought Harriet. Harriet she got hit by a car, and she had an amputated leg. Well, he kind of bonded with this eagle. It was amazing to see this. She would let him feed her, let Shane feed her. Dead rats, nasty, but she would let him do it. He goes, Mom, she gets me. She understands. And I realized that was amazing. Because eagles, our national bird, I think about, I don't know if you know this, but there's a bird that's a nuisance to eagles that most people don't know. And it's kind of like trauma. Trauma happens to you. Well, it happens to the eagle, and this black crow will land on the flying eagle and peck and peck and keep pecking. That's a nuisance. I kind of feel that's a representation of trauma. It keeps pecking at you. And it's there, it won't leave. That's what that eagle does. The eagle flies higher into the altitude, and as it flies higher, that crow can't breathe and ends up falling off its back. That's what it means to never give up. So you students, if you ever have a situation where you feel that you can't do it anymore, think of Shane's story, think of the eagle, that you don't give up, that you fly higher and find those ways to make it work. Right? Just keep in mind that you all have the power to make a difference, not only in yourself and others, to support others, to show that you care, to show you care. Well, today, if I could show those, yes. As you know, Shane got married. He met Jennifer at a Wounded Warrior Project event. I do now have two beautiful grandsons, Owen and Emmett. Shane plays for you can move those slides as you go. Shane plays now hockey, sled hockey, for the Columbus Blue Jacket traveling sled hockey team. And Jennifer is the manager. And that's what you call resilience and never give up. Shane's lessons in his life as he was a little boy paved the way of his future. You might say he was preparing for his career to care for others, to raise his hand when our country was in need, to protect their freedom. As President Reagan once said, and I quote, "Veterans know better than anyone else the price of freedom, for they have suffered the scars of war." Those are true words. Those scars never go away. They're always there. They don't leave. But for Shane, it started out helping a little girl who was cold, or helping a little kid go down a slide. I didn't mention that. We helped a disabled little boy go down a huge slide for the first time. Or helping a little kid take that worm and that fish off the hook. Or helping them at the YMCA when their parents were working. That paved his way of what it meant to care for others and give that support for those who need it. So his support transformed into service to our country, making a difference. It's the most powerful thing you can do. You have that power. And maybe you can find your own way to do that. Students in your community here, in your school, where you live, help tutor a younger student. Maybe that student needs help with tutoring. And you're like, yeah, you know what, 1 day a week for an hour. Tutor that student. Make a difference. Pick up trash in the park. Help a homeless shelter. Food bank. Collect food. Or warm coats for those who need it. Make a difference. Be the one to change lives. I want to thank, where's Darren? My host Darren? There's Darren. My host Darren, Mr. Turner. Thank you so much for being my host and being so kind to show me around. And okay, where is, he's back there, I can't remember his first name again. Tyler back there. Tyler from the National Guard. Thank you for driving me in my first parade. You guys, that's my first parade. And I've never been in a parade. So thank you for that, Tyler. He gave you a little tour of all the memorials. You have such beautiful memorials here in Greenfield. Beautiful memorials to honor those who sacrificed so much. I want to thank each and every one of you. We appreciate you, and especially our veterans, for your service and sacrifice to our country. And trust me, I will never forget your sacrifice. One more thing, God bless America.
Thank you, Cindy, for that wonderful message. At this time, we will have the performance of the national anthem, performed by our GC Madrigal. Please stand if you are able. Before we begin the anthem, it is quite possible that the bell will ring at 3:25. I would still like to be respectful with the playing of taps after the anthem. So students, if you do need to recede out of the gym when the bell rings to make a bus, please do so quietly and be respectful of all of our veterans and guests, okay? Thank you very much.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose rough stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, of the brave.
that concludes our program. Thank you very much.